So without further ado, Mattias and Erik, the founders of Magine, take it away. The stage is yours.
There we go. The presentation is in place. Thank you very much, Ola. I'm not really sure how I'm going to live up to that introduction, but I'll do my best. It's a great honor to be here today. It's the first time we're going to show Magine outside of Sweden, and what better place to do that than SIME London. I have my colleague Mattias with me. He's our head of product and one of my co-founders. He's going to show you in a bit what the service actually is about and actually show it live. It's kind of scary to do with a beta service in a country where you're not familiar with how it's going to work out. But we're sure that you're not going to eat up all the bandwidth here, so we're going to save something for the demo. Anyway, just as to lay the groundwork, my name is Erik, and I'm obviously from Valhalla in Sweden. I'm also a dad, and that's probably the only thing you're allowed to be proud about if you're from Sweden. So I'm not gonna brag about anything else today. I'm also a serial entrepreneur. Over the last 20 years, I had the great opportunity of being able to live in many places, in San Francisco, in New York, and here in London for a couple of years, and the last 4 years in China, in Beijing, before I moved back to Sweden. I started a company called Medialab back in the early internet days in '96, together with Johan Stahl, who's here somewhere in the audience, today known as LBI. Also had a great honor of investing in Ola in Result a couple of years back. And over these 20 years, being very much a part of, or be a small part of investing and building companies within digital, it's just been phenomenal what has been happening. I mean, you've been here for the last 3 hours, and everyone is kind of echoing the same things. Technology is really, really making lives better, and they're making it easier for consumers in their everyday life. I paid my way through my late teens and my university days making money at playing music as a DJ. But as much as I love my 12-inch vinyls still, and I can bring them out on a rainy day, they just tend to get further and further pushed back in the garage. The only thing I use now is Spotify, because it's just such a fantastic user experience, such a fantastic service. You can just bring it with you everywhere. You have all the world's music, and it's just at a touch of the button. But what really happened with TV? Over the course of the last 20 years, what happened with TV? TV is still the king of all media. We consume more TV now than ever, but not much has really happened. It seems like it's just a little bit more complicated and slightly more expensive. The first professional encounter I had with television was when, actually also together with Johan Stahl, we got to start a company for the MTG group in the Nordics, and the company was called Interactive Television. That was Interactive Television in 1993. Great name, not such a great service. Interactivity was basic teletext interaction with a touch-tone phone. But why hasn't anything more happened in TV over the last 20 years? If we look at what it takes, if you're a consumer and you want to consume TV, so you probably, this works, you probably run away and you buy a beautiful, big 50-inch screen TV for your living room. Then you call the cable guys. Then you probably might have a dish. You get 1 or 2 set-top boxes. You need 1 or 2 smart cards. You need to hook that up probably with your Apple TV box or maybe the Roku box. You connect it to your stereo to get the sound out. Why doesn't TVs have proper speakers nowadays? And you just need boxes, and you end up with 5 or 6 remote controls. And that's for your living room. All right, I was a dad, I mentioned that, so I want to have good TV for my kids in their room as well. So you need to pay your way for every step once again, and you need a twin subscription. All right, so what happens? Now you've got 2 rooms. What about my bedroom? Okay, 3rd time. Then you need your summer house or your ski lodge or what have you, and you probably can't even have a twin subscription because there's another provider of TV that provides TV in that location. So you need to pay everything all over again, and we're all bathing in set-top boxes and remote controls. It's complicated. But if that wasn't enough of a problem looking for a solution, it also seems to be terribly fragmented. So on that big 50-inch nice screen in your living room or in your kids' room, you watch live TV, and it's predominantly just live TV you watch. But what if you want to have your your Love Film, your Hulu, your Netflix, and all the other services that you want to consume as well, for catch-up or for movies? All right, then you normally need to leave your big TV, you need to go to another device, your computer, go to different apps, 15 different websites, looks all different, have different user experiences, and you start searching and browsing around. You know, why is it like that? I started asking a lot of people. I started asking smart people, my old professors, people in the industry, but I also asked the smartest people I know. So I asked my kids, how do you want TV to be? You know, from kids, you normally get the truth. From the other guys, to get something that's kind of filtered through 50 years of experience. And they said, you know, Dad, you know, mostly we watch TV in the living room, but sometimes we watch catch-up on the computer in the office when we play games. Sometimes we watch TV in our own room, but a lot of times we watch TV on our iPods or on our pads. But you know, we just want to have TV everywhere. We just want to have the same things that we have in one place and the other place. I just want to be able to stop watching whatever they watch now, Hannah Montana, on the TV, pause it there, continue on my mobile device. And it's simply not possible. And it was around this time I had the great fortune to meet Matthias. And it seemed that he had been actually working with the same questions for a couple of years, but attacking it from a different angle, from a technology angle. So safe to say, we really hit it off directly and started spending a lot of time together over coffees and late nights, trying to frame the problem that if we were to start a company together, what would be our direction? What would we want to achieve? How can we encapsulate this big problem into a sentence that would be more easy to execute on? And finally, on a blank sheet of paper, we wrote a sentence that was, if TV was invented today, what would it look like? And that's what we've been working on for 2 years. And this is the first time we're going to show it here outside Sweden. So, Matthias, please.
Yeah, it's a big question. How would it look like if it was invented today? Actually, what's very interesting to hear Ericsson talk earlier today about the networked society. It's mobile, it's broadband, and it uses all the things around your devices. So if we have a look at television today, is it broadband? Some sort of broadband. Some of it uses IP television. The rest of them is not using broadband, they're using satellite, as Erik said. They're using cables. Or they're using terrestrial. Are they mobile? Well, not really. You can watch television on your wall. If you want to watch on another device, you cannot. Does it use the cloud? No, it doesn't. As soon as the broadcast signal has passed by, just 1 millisecond behind it, it's gone. We also heard just before the break that TV is not going away. We're having revenues in the television industry for advertisement going up. So with that said, let's have a look at Magine. I want to watch television on my mobile device here in SIME, in London, and I want to watch the middle on channel 5 in Sweden. And there you have live broadcasted television on my mobile device at SIME. Let's do that again. Let's just have a look at any other. Let's have a look at CNN, World 1. Live broadcasted television. But this perhaps actually was an interesting program, which I missed. And in the catch-up world, you have to wait for it to end, start another application to watch it. But not in Magine. I just tap it, press the live line, and I go back and I watch the program from the beginning. Everything in the same interface. Let's go back to live. There you go. Live broadcasted television again. I'll go back here, and I hope everybody can see this in a good way on the screen up there. But what you see here is a red live line. That's where the broadcasted signal is today. And if we actually look what works in television and what television is so strong, it's two things. You can just sit down, it's a laid-back behavior, swap between channels, and really find something to watch. The other thing is that the channels have perfected over a long, long time the way of programming during a day. So from the morning to the night, they put a lot of effort in programming the perfect schedule for the users. And if we have a look at another industry, Erik just spoke about Spotify. So imagine you're having all the music in the world. What do you want to listen to? So some do searches, but actually most people use playlists, which recommends from other, or the playlist I set up and you listen to it. And if you look at television, why it's actually working, these are playlists which the channel are creating, which you cannot use because they're gone. Not in the Magine world. Everything on television, on any channel, you can just go back and watch. So I have all the programs that's been on television today. Or, by the way, yesterday night, prime time, CSI Miami. Why not? So I have all television on all the channels in history. Technology-wise, we can do this forever. It's, of course, a rights issue. So generally, we have a week on all channels. Some channels gives us 30 days. So I can just jump around here, have fun with it in London, watching my television programs. So it's all good. I want to see it on my mobile devices, and we're already seeing with our beta users that this transforms behavior. We're having people tweeting that they've changed the behavior. They're actually looking at the news program in the morning on the bus to their work. Or they start watching a program which they missed when they came home because they didn't fix the time perfectly. That's the mobile part. But the biggest way of watching television is still on these screens. So what we also did is that we invented a cloud function that we link all the devices to, which means that any device that has an internet connection can be used for television. So let's have a look at this Samsung. I will just start the Magine service, bring up my iPad. I will just press here that I want to add another device. These devices don't need to be on the same network, by the way, so I can take this with me to a television set, which is not mine, and just point it to my television set. And let's wait for it. There you go. Now my device is connected to my television set. So now I can actually browse around here and say, okay, this sounds like an interesting program, Ellen DeGeneres show. And that will start on my television set. Thank you. And I also can go watch live television or any program on television. The good thing here is also I'm having this device here, which I do a lot of selections on, which is a perfect device to consume television on. And I can use this device to surf around what I want to watch on television. So I'm not stuck with just up and down between the channels. I can actually also just choose my iPad here again. Watch something like Army Wife. Don't know if I want to see it actually, but I'll select it anyways. Start watching it on my iPad, thinking this is actually a good program, so let's put it on for the rest of my family. Then I press my external device that's connected, I press Army Vice, and Army Vice is running on my television set. So now you think, or a lot of people think, well, if I walk around or walk away with my iPad or my phone out of the building, what does that leave my rest of my family if they don't have their smartphone at home? Well, of course, you can just lift up your remote control and flick around the channels. So it's a full TV replacement service. I want to watch Channel 5 on my television with my remote, of course I can. Everything connected through internet. But I can also just flick around, get my channel lists with history directly in my television set. So I can just jump back and watch any program that's been on television directly from my television also. So whatever device you want to use, if you want to use this, you can. If I want to go back to my iPad, I can. And if I want to watch it on my phone, I can. So this is Magine. This is where we are today. We have a development plan that spans quite a bit of years, but we cannot transform everything directly. First, you need an outstanding viewing experience. It needs to be extremely easy to consume television, wherever you are in the same interfaces. And then a lot of nice things will come. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthias. It's working again? Hey guys, am I on again? Good. Pretty neat, huh? Do you want to have a service like this? Yeah. All right, good. Good. Well, you can't right now, but you will, hopefully. We're currently in tech beta since 3 weeks back in Sweden with some 2,500 users. And the most common question I get from the beta users or any partners that we meet when we talk about Magine is, how are you actually able to do this? And why hasn't anyone done it before? It seems so obvious. The second question, I don't know. I'm just happy that no one hasn't. The first question I'm going to try to answer. And if we start with some business class 101 and the basic value chain of television, you see on your left side you have the production companies that actually produce video content. It could be local production companies or the Hollywood studios. Then you have the broadcasters that buy the rights, or actually in some instances produce their own rights. Then you have the TV operators that bundle different channels and they sell it in subscriptions to the consumers who's drowning in remote controls. But what's interesting, if we take the comparison to music again, what's the difference between this value chain and the value chain in music is that it's not broken. This value chain actually still makes a hell of a lot of money. In music, you had to disrupt the entire value chain to actually get back on track, primarily because of piracy. So what we are doing is not disrupting the distribution. We're disrupting we're disrupting the distribution. We're not disrupting the entire value chain. We're simply a digital TV provider. So we sign the same type of contracts that any cable provider would do with the broadcasters, and we bundle it, and we take it to consumers, and we get paid, and we funnel money back to the broadcasters, who funnel money back to the production companies. But you wouldn't be able to do this without some awesome technology that Matthias and his team of 20 guys has been developing over the last 3 years. So primarily, the top 3 things we do in technology is that we get great picture on low bandwidth, but we get even greater picture on higher bandwidth. So the system automatically detects on what device you're on and how fast bandwidth you have, and automatically sends you the most optimal feed. And obviously, through the cloud, through multiple CDNs at the same time. 2, everything is recorded automatically in the cloud. Since we are a full end-to-end TV broadcasting system, we take the channels, preferably on fiber, uncoded from the broadcasters, and we encode that, and we ship everything up to the cloud in different formats for adaptive bit rates, and then we stream it out. That allows us to do it everything recorded. So if you just, I have a PVR box, I'm sure many of you have as well. I rarely use it because I need to remember what to record. So I need to know what to record. That ends up being maybe 3 or 4 programs a week. So in my normal cable world, where I have 50 channels that I'm buying, when I get home at night, I can watch 50 things, plus the 3 that I remember to record. So 53 things I can watch. In a Magine world, a world that you're already actually paying for and that the broadcasters wants to make available and monetize, you have 15,000 things to watch. That's a bit of a quantum leap. So even with what you're paying today, you should be able to get 15,000 things to watch instead of your 53. And we think that is pretty awesome. And since it is through the cloud and point-to-point over the internet, we can do any screen and any network. So it's not just that I'm locked into, well, what do I have in Sweden? Three Hutchinson in Sweden. I'm not just locked into that. I can take it to my summer house, or I can take it to my friend's place, or I can take it wherever, and it would still work, just like your Spotify experience. And also, as Matthias showed, if you're really in love with these guys, I mean, you can continue using them. I know I do when I half asleep in the sofa, but most of the time it's not such a great device for discovery and search and finding new content. Then your tablets or your smartphones is a far better device of using. And since we don't need set-top boxes, I mean, what's up with these set-top boxes anyway? Why do we really need them in a world that's changed as much as we've been talking about the entire day today? We still use set-top boxes. It's just crazy. Yeah, but since we don't need them, we don't need to subsidize those boxes, so we don't need long contracts. We also don't need billions of dollars in infrastructure costs for satellite distribution. We're using something that's already there. So we can have a much, much simpler subscription model. So our base model is just a freemium tier. On top of that, we have a 30-day subscription for a base pack, and everything that the broadcasters allow us to have is offered a la carte on top. And we can have not just 100 channels, 200 channels. We have no limitations in how much content we can carry. So you can have mid-tier content, you can have long-tail content, anything. But the important part, we are not the ones licensing the content. We're partnering with broadcasters, VOD suppliers, or who have you, and simply piggybacking on those contracts. There's contract rights. So if you summarize all of this experience, or maybe rather if you actually unclutter your beautiful living room from all the boxes and all the remotes and liberate your TV, we think that adds up to really an outstanding user experience. So 2 years ago, we started together. You started a year earlier. With a simple question: if TV was invented today, what would it look like? Well, what do you think? I sincerely hope that we showed you a bit of it right now. Thank you.